Thomas Ward, renowned human xenobiologist, entered the Grand Council chamber of Harmony 7 space station with a menagerie of Earth's most dangerous creatures in tow. The Galactic Council members recoiled as a German shepherd dog, Bengal cat, and Harris's hawk followed Ward obediently. Ward stood tall, unfazed by the aliens' reaction. He understood the gravity of this moment. The emergency session of the Galactic Council, convened to address humanity's alarming ability to tame Earth's lethal fauna, would determine his species' future in the interstellar community. The chamber buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from dozens of alien races shifted in their seats, eyeing the Earth animals warily. Some reached for emergency atmospheric controls, fearing contamination from the Deathworld creatures. Council Chairperson Zixtal raised a tentacle for silence. "Dr. Ward, you have been summoned to testify regarding humanity's domestication of these beings. Please explain how your kind manages to control such deadly creatures." Ward nodded, gesturing to his companions. The dog sat at attention, the cat perched on a nearby ledge, and the hawk settled on his shoulder. "Esteemed Council, what you see before you is the result of thousands of years of co-evolution and mutual benefit." He launched into humanity's long history of animal domestication, from prehistoric wolves to modern service animals. Ward emphasized the symbiotic relationships formed and the advancements made possible through these partnerships. Neeran interrupted, mandibles clicking furiously. "This is precisely our concern. Humans wielding the power of Deathworld fauna could upset the balance of galactic affairs. We cannot allow such potential weapons to spread unchecked." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Ward sensed the growing unease and knew he needed to change tactics. He began demonstrating the animals' obedience and affection, showcasing their intelligence and emotional bonds with humans. As Ward explained the German shepherd's role in search and rescue operations, a commotion erupted near the chamber entrance. A group of anti-human protesters forced their way past security, brandishing signs and shouting slogans. "No Deathworlders in our galaxy," they chanted, advancing menacingly towards Ward and the council members. The council members watched in shock as the Earth creatures, moments ago docile and affectionate, transformed into formidable guardians. Ward calmly issued commands, and the animals responded with precision, creating a protective perimeter around him and the nearest council representatives. Security forces quickly subdued the protesters, but the damage was done. The council had witnessed firsthand the potential of Earth's fauna as both companions and protectors. Chairperson Zixtal's voice quavered slightly as they called for a recess. We must discuss the implications of what we've seen here today. Dr. Ward, please remain on standby. This hearing is far from over." As the council members filed out, still casting nervous glances at the Earth animals, Ward stroked his German shepherd's fur. He knew the real challenge lay ahead. The fate of humanity's place in the galaxy hung in the balance, and he would need every ounce of his expertise and the unwavering loyalty of his animal companions to convince the Council of the benefits of these unique partnerships. Ward began formulating his strategy, determined to show the Galactic Council that humanity's bond with Earth's creatures was not a threat, but a testament to their species' adaptability and capacity for cooperation, traits that could prove invaluable in the wider galactic community. As the council members filed back into the chamber, Ward noticed a tall, uniformed figure approaching him. The man's sharp features and purposeful stride marked him as military. "Dr. Ward," the man said in a low voice, extending his hand. "Commander Marcus Steele, Interstellar Defense Force, we need to talk." Ward shook the commander's hand, raising an eyebrow. "Now? We're about to resume the hearing." Steele glanced around, then leaned in closer. "This can't wait. Those protesters, they're part of something bigger, a group called the Purity Alliance. They're dead set against human expansion in the galaxy." Steele nodded grimly. "We need your help, your expertise with animals, your presence here. It's the perfect cover for a covert operation." Ward hesitated, looking at his animal companions. The German shepherd tilted its head, sensing his unease. "What exactly are you proposing, Commander?" "We need to plant surveillance devices," Steele explained quickly. Your presentation equipment can be modified to conceal them. It's our best shot at exposing the Alliance's activities. Ward weighed the risks against the potential benefits. If they could prove the threat was real, it might sway the Council in humanity's favor. He made his decision. I'm in. What's the plan? As Chairperson Zixtal called the session back to order, Ward and Steele worked swiftly to modify Ward's equipment. Miniature cameras and listening devices were seamlessly integrated into his presentation materials. Ward stepped forward, a new confidence in his stride. Esteemed Council, I'd like to introduce you to another of Earth's remarkable creatures. He whistled sharply, and a black and white blur shot into the chamber. A border collie skidded to a halt at Ward's feet, its intelligent eyes scanning the room. This is Max, Ward announced. He represents the pinnacle of canine intelligence and problem-solving ability. As Ward began his demonstration, he and Max moved purposefully around the chamber. To the council members, it appeared as if Ward was simply showcasing Max's agility and obedience. In reality, they were strategically placing the surveillance devices at key points. Max can understand over 1,000 words and respond to complex commands, Ward explained, directing the dog through a series of impressive feats. As Max weaved through an impromptu obstacle course, Ward discreetly activated the hidden cameras. Niran, the Talarian representative who had been so vehemently opposed earlier, leaned forward with interest. Impressive, he admitted grudgingly, but how does this translate to practical applications? Ward smiled, ready to drive his point home. Max's ancestors were bred for herding livestock, but today border collies like him assist in search and rescue operations, detect illnesses in humans, and even help with conservation efforts for endangered species. As Ward continued his presentation, he noticed a member of the Council's security team watching him intently. The guard's eyes seemed to shift color, and his skin rippled slightly. Ward's instincts, honed by years of observing animal behavior, screamed danger. Suddenly the chamber was plunged into chaos. A high-pitched whine filled the air, and all communication devices went dead. The security guard Ward had noticed earlier shed his disguise, revealing the mottled skin of a Vargon. Before Ward could shout a warning, the chamber doors burst open. Armed figures poured in, their faces obscured by masks. "For galactic purity!" they shouted, brandishing weapons. Ward's animals reacted instantly. Max darted forward, using his herding instincts to guide panicked council members towards the emergency exits. The German Shepherd launched itself at the nearest attacker, its powerful jaws clamping down on an arm, wielding a plasma pistol. High above, Ward's Harris's hawk took flight, its keen eyes surveying the chaos below. It screeched a warning as more attackers approached from a side entrance. "Steele," Ward shouted, ducking under a wild swing from one of the assailants. 10th floor balcony." Ward found himself face to face with the Vargon infiltrator. The alien's skin rippled, trying to blend with its surroundings. But Ward, drawing on his knowledge of Earth's camouflage experts like cuttlefish and chameleons, anticipated the Vargon's movements. As the Vargon lunged, Ward sidestepped, using the alien's momentum against it. A quick strike to a vulnerable point he had observed in Vargon physiology sent the infiltrator crumpling to the ground. Across the chamber, Niran and several other council members watched in awe as the Earth animals worked in perfect harmony with their human companions. Max herded the last of the civilians to safety, while the German Shepherd stood guard, its hackles raised in warning to any who dared approach. The hawk continued to provide aerial intelligence, its cries guiding Ward and Steele to outmaneuver the remaining attackers. Within minutes, the station's security forces arrived, quickly subduing the Purity Alliance members. As the dust settled, Ward found himself at the center of attention once more. But this time the looks from the council members were filled with grudging respect and newfound curiosity. Chairperson Zixtal's tentacles quivered as they addressed the assembly. "It seems we have much to discuss regarding the security of our galactic community and the potential role humans and their remarkable companions might play in it." Niran, his mandibles clicking thoughtfully, approached Ward. "Perhaps," he said slowly, We have been too hasty in our judgment of Deathworlders and their fauna. Commander Steele stepped forward, seizing the moment. Esteemed Council, in light of these events, I propose the formation of a joint human-alien task force, one that leverages the unique abilities of Earth's animals and their human handlers to address threats to galactic security. A murmur of interest rippled through the chamber. Several council members nodded, seeing the potential in such an alliance. As discussions began in earnest, Ward knelt beside his loyal companions, scratching behind Max's ears. He knew this was just the beginning. The real challenge lay ahead, convincing the galaxy that humanity and Earth's creatures were not just formidable allies in times of crisis, but valuable partners in building a safer, more interconnected galactic society. The council chambers buzzed with renewed energy as representatives debated the implications of the day's events. Ward prepared himself for the negotiations to come, knowing that the fate of human-animal partnerships and humanity's place among the stars hung in the balance. Ward's presentation to the Galactic Council stretched late into the night. As the chamber finally emptied, he found himself standing alone with Commander Steele, both men exhausted but exhilarated by the day's events. "Well done, Doctor," Steele said, clapping Ward on the shoulder, "but our work is just beginning." Steele's eyes gleamed. "The Council wants proof, real practical evidence that Earth's animals can make a difference out there." He gestured towards the star-filled viewport. "They're setting up a series of field tests on 3 different planets. You up for it?" Ward grinned. "When do we leave?" 2 weeks later, Ward found himself on the bridge of the ISS Beagle, a research vessel specially outfitted for their unique mission. Beside him stood a carefully selected team of human handlers, each an expert in their field. In the ship's holds, a menagerie of Earth's finest animal partners waited, from soaring raptors to sleek marine mammals. Their first stop, Zephyria, a gas giant with cities that floated like soap bubbles in its turbulent atmosphere. As they approached, Ward marveled at the gossamer structures suspended in the planet's swirling orange clouds. "Quite a sight, isn't it?" Captain Lena Reeves remarked, guiding the ship towards a docking port on the largest floating platform. "But those winds make it a maintenance nightmare. Let's see if your birds are up to the challenge." Once docked, Ward led his team to a vast hangar bay. There they were greeted by Zorn, the Zephyrian Minister of Aerial Operations. The tall, avian-like alien eyed the crates containing Earth's peregrine falcons with obvious skepticism. "You claim these creatures can outperform our drones?" Zorn asked, his crest feathers rippling doubtfully. Ward nodded. "Let's put them to the test." The hangar doors slid open, revealing Zephyria's turbulent sky. Wind howled through the opening, nearly knocking several team members off their feet. Ward stepped forward, a hooded falcon perched on his arm. With a practiced motion, Ward removed Artemis's hood and launched her into the maelstrom. The falcon's wings snapped open, and she shot upward with breathtaking speed. Zorn's eyes widened as he watched the real-time feed from Artemis's camera. The falcon effortlessly navigated wind shears that would have sent any drone tumbling, her keen eyes spotting a malfunctioning power coupling on a distant platform. Over the next week, Ward's falcons proved their worth time and again. They retrieved lost equipment, provided aerial surveillance during a storm that grounded all other craft, and even rescued a Zephyrian engineer stranded on a damaged maintenance gondola. By the end of their stay, Zorn was practically giddy with excitement. "We must have more of these falcons," he insisted, already drafting plans for a joint Earth-Zephyrian breeding program. As the Beagle departed for their next destination, Ward caught Commander Steele deep in conversation with Captain Reeves. Their voices were low, but Ward caught snatches about Purity Alliance and increased security. He made a mental note to speak with Steele later. Aquarius Prime loomed before them, a world of endless oceans and sprawling underwater metropolises. Here, Ward introduced the planet's officials to bottlenose dolphins and sea lions, showcasing their incredible aquatic abilities. In a vast undersea dome, Ward directed a pod of dolphins as they used their echolocation to map out previously unknown cave systems. The aliens watched in awe as the dolphins communicated complex information through a series of clicks and whistles, far surpassing the capabilities of existing sonar technology. Meanwhile, a team of sea lions assisted in repairing a breach in one of the colony's outer walls. Their strength and agility in the water allowed them to maneuver heavy equipment with ease, completing the task in half the time it would have taken the colonists alone. The true test came when an alarm blared through the colony. A group of researchers had become trapped in a remote outpost, cut off by a sudden underwater landslide. Ward and his team sprang into action, deploying both dolphins and sea lions in a coordinated search and rescue operation. As they raced through the murky depths, Ward's heart pounded. This was no mere demonstration, lives were at stake. He pressed his face against the viewport of their submersible, watching as the dolphins streaked ahead, their echolocation pinging off the seafloor. Suddenly, one of the dolphins let out a series of urgent clicks. They'd found something. The sea lions moved in, using their powerful flippers to clear away debris. Within minutes, they had created an opening large enough for the rescue team to enter. Ward beamed with pride, but his celebration was short-lived. As they prepared to depart for their final destination, Commander Steele pulled him aside, his expression grim. "We've intercepted communications," Steele said in a low voice. "The Purity Alliance is planning something big on Infernus. We need to be ready for anything." Ward nodded, his heart made. As the Beagle set course for the volcanic world of Infernus, he knew that the greatest challenge and the greatest opportunity to prove the worth of Earth's animals still lay ahead. The ship's engines hummed as they approached the fiery planet, its surface a patchwork of glowing lava flows and ash-choked skies. Ward gathered his team for a final briefing, acutely aware of the risks they were about to face. The specialized search and rescue dogs, bred for the harshest environments Earth could offer, waited in their protective gear, eager for the challenges ahead. As they began their descent towards Infernus's main colony, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. Captain Reeves's voice crackled over the intercom, tense but controlled. "All hands, brace for emergency landing. We've lost primary engines." Ward exchanged a knowing look with Commander Steele. This was no accident. The Purity Alliance had made their move. The Beagle plummeted through Infernus's turbulent atmosphere, buffeted by ash and superheated gases. Ward braced himself, one arm wrapped protectively around Max, his other hand gripping a safety harness. As they emerged from the crippled ship, the full magnitude of their predicament became clear. Infernus lived up to its name. A hellscape of active volcanoes and rivers of molten rock stretched as far as the eye could see. The air shimmered with heat, and noxious fumes stung their eyes and throats. "Ward," Steele's voice crackled through his comm unit. "We've got incoming, multiple shuttles approaching from the main colony." Before Ward could respond, a distant rumble caught his attention. One of the search and rescue dogs, a stocky Rottweiler named Brutus, began to bark insistently. "Earthquake?" Ward wondered aloud, but the dog's behavior suggested something else entirely. Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet split open. A geyser of superheated steam erupted, showering the area with scalding droplets and volcanic debris. The team scrambled for cover, but Ward noticed two of the technicians trapped on the wrong side of the widening fissure. "Max, Brutus, with me!" Ward shouted, sprinting towards the endangered crew members. The dogs raced ahead, their protective gear allowing them to navigate the treacherous terrain with ease. As Ward reached the edge of the fissure, he saw Max and Brutus had already begun to guide the panicked technicians to a safer position. Their barks cut through the roar of the steam vent, providing clear directions that transcended language barriers. With a coordinated effort, Ward and the dogs managed to help the technicians to safety, just as the first shuttle from the colony touched down nearby. A team of Infernian first responders poured out, their heat-resistant exosuits gleaming in the ruddy light of the lava flows. As the rescue operation got underway, Ward couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to their crash than simple mechanical failure. He caught Steele's eye and saw his own suspicions mirrored there. Their silent exchange was interrupted by a priority transmission from Earth. Captain Reeves, her face lined with concern, delivered the news that would change everything. Ward's mind raced. A new alien species, and they wanted to meet him and Steele. Before he could fully process the implications, Reeves continued. There's more. The Zirconians have expressed a particular interest in Earth's biodiversity and our relationships with animals. This could be a game-changer for our position in the galactic community. Steele stepped forward, his expression grim. Captain, what about the situation here on Infernus and the Purity Alliance threat? Reeves sighed. We have reason to believe the Purity Alliance was behind your crash, but right now, the diplomatic opportunity with the Zirconians takes priority. A fast courier is en route to extract you. You leave as soon as it arrives. As the transmission ended, Ward and Steele shared a look of mingled excitement and apprehension. The universe, it seemed, had just gotten a lot more complicated. The next few days passed in a blur of debriefings and hasty preparations. Before Ward knew it, he found himself standing in a secure conference room deep within a government complex in Geneva. Beside him, Commander Steele stood at parade rest, his posture betraying none of the tension Ward felt. The doors slid open, revealing a delegation unlike any Ward had seen before. The Zirconians glided into the room on what appeared to be fields of shimmering energy. Their bodies were crystalline structures that pulsed with inner light, faceted surfaces refracting the room's illumination in dazzling patterns. At the head of the delegation, a larger Zirconian with a deep blue hue approached. Its voice, when it spoke, seemed to resonate directly in Ward's mind. Ward stepped forward, fighting to keep his voice steady. Welcome to Earth, Ambassador Zalthor. We're honored by your interest in our planet and its creatures. Zalthor's crystalline form shimmered, an effect Ward would come to recognize as a sign of excitement. The honor is ours, Dr. Ward. Your ability to form symbiotic relationships with other species is unique in our experience. We are eager to learn from you and to share our own knowledge in return. As the initial pleasantries gave way to more substantive discussions, Ward found himself captivated by the Zirconians' advanced biotechnology. They spoke of genetic libraries containing the DNA of millions of species from across the galaxy and of techniques to rapidly adapt organisms to new environments. Imagine, Zalthor said, its mental voice thrumming with enthusiasm, being able to introduce Earth species to other worlds or to create new hybrid species adapted to the challenges of space exploration. The potential was staggering, but Ward couldn't help feeling a twinge of unease. He glanced at Steele, seeing his own concerns reflected in the commander's eyes. The power to reshape life on such a scale could be a double-edged sword. As if sensing their hesitation, Zalthor's tone became more serious. We understand your caution. That is why we propose an exchange program. We offer access to our biotechnology, while you allow us to study Earth's ecosystems and your methods of animal partnership. The human officials present quickly agreed, seeing the diplomatic and technological benefits. Ward, however, felt a growing sense of responsibility. If this exchange was to proceed, he would need to ensure it was done safely and ethically. As the meeting concluded, Ward found himself appointed as the lead scientific liaison for the exchange program. Steele, to his surprise, was tasked with overseeing security and coordinating with Earth's military to protect the project from potential Purity Alliance interference. Later that evening, as Ward sat in his temporary quarters reviewing the day's events, he received an unexpected visitor. Steele entered, his face grave. "We need to talk, Tom," he said, closing the door behind him. "I've uncovered some disturbing information about Purity Alliance infiltration here on Earth. This Zirconian exchange could be at risk before it even begins." Ward listened intently as Steele laid out the evidence of extremist cells within Earth's own government and military. The scope of the threat was larger than he had imagined. As Steele finished his report, Ward's mind was already racing with the implications. They would need to be vigilant, not only against external threats, but also against those who might seek to sabotage the exchange from within. "There's one more thing," Steele added, his voice lowering. "The Zirconians mentioned something about telepathic communication with animals. If that's true, it could change everything we know about interspecies interaction." Ward nodded slowly, the possibilities and potential dangers unfolding in his mind. As he prepared to respond, a chime from his computer interrupted them. A new message had arrived, marked with the highest priority. The Zirconian exchange program was about to begin, and with it, a new chapter in humanity's relationship with the galaxy and the animals of Earth. Ward took a deep breath, knowing that the challenges ahead would test not only his scientific acumen, but also his ability to navigate the treacherous waters of interspecies diplomacy and hidden agendas. As he opened the message, Ward steeled himself for whatever lay ahead. The fate of Earth's biodiversity, and perhaps humanity's place among the stars, would depend on the choices they made in the coming days. Ward opened the message, his eyes scanning the contents rapidly. He looked up at Steele, his expression a mix of anticipation and dedication. "It's time. The Council is ready for our final presentation." The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity as Ward and Steele assembled their team. Max, the ever-loyal border collie, was at Ward's side, while the peregrine falcons from Zephyria perched nearby, their keen eyes taking in every detail. A pair of bottlenose dolphins floated in their mobile aquatic units, clicking excitedly to each other. As they made their way to the council chambers, Ward couldn't help but marvel at the diversity of their group. Humans and animals from Earth working seamlessly alongside alien allies, all united in their mission to showcase the potential of interspecies cooperation. The doors to the council chambers slid open, revealing a vast circular room. Tiered seating surrounded a central platform, each seat occupied by a representative from a different world. Ward recognized some familiar faces, the Talarian diplomat Niran, his expression guarded but curious, and Ambassador Zalthor, whose crystalline form pulsed with an inner light. As Ward and his team took their positions on the central platform, a hush fell over the chamber. The weight of the moment pressed down on Ward's shoulders. He took a deep breath, centered himself, and began. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," Ward's voice rang out, clear and confident, "we stand before you today, not just as representatives of humanity, but as ambassadors for all of Earth's biodiversity." With a subtle hand gesture, Ward signaled the start of their demonstration. Max sprang into action, herding a group of small, colorful spheres into intricate patterns. The falcons launched into the air, weaving through a series of holographic obstacles that appeared above the platform. But it was the dolphins that truly captured the council's attention. A complex three-dimensional puzzle materialized in their aquatic units. The dolphins' eyes gleamed with intelligence as they manipulated the holographic shapes with their echolocation, solving the puzzle with remarkable speed and precision. Gasps of amazement echoed through the chamber. Ward allowed himself a small smile before continuing. "What you're witnessing is more than just trained behavior. Through advancements in Zirconian biotechnology, we've established a form of telepathic communication with these animals." To demonstrate, Ward closed his eyes, focusing his thoughts. The falcons, responding to his mental commands, executed a series of aerial maneuvers in perfect synchronization. The dolphins, meanwhile, began an underwater ballet, their movements a mirror image of each other. The council members leaned forward in their seats, their attention fully captured. Ward could see the doubt and skepticism in some of their eyes being replaced by wonder and curiosity. Just as Ward was about to move on to the next phase of the presentation, a piercing alarm shattered the atmosphere of awe. Red lights began flashing throughout the chamber, and a computerized voice blared from hidden speakers. "Alert! Alert! Hostile forces detected. Station defenses breached. This is not a drill." Commander Steele's hand flew to his communication device. His face paled as he listened to the incoming message. "It's the Purity Alliance," he announced, his voice grim. "They've launched a full-scale assault on Harmony 7. Our defenses are overwhelmed." Panic erupted in the council chambers. Diplomats from 100 worlds rose from their seats, voices raised in alarm and confusion. Ward exchanged a quick glance with Steele, a silent understanding passing between them. "Everyone, please remain calm," Ward called out, his voice cutting through the chaos. "We have a plan." With swift, decisive movements, Ward began coordinating their response. Max, responding to a mental command, began herding the council members towards a secure area, his bark brooking no argument even from the most stubborn diplomats. The Falcons took to the air once more, this time with a new purpose. They darted through the station's corridors, their sharp eyes scanning for intruders. Through his telepathic link, Ward received a constant stream of visual information, allowing him to track the Purity Alliance's movements in real time. Meanwhile, the Dolphins' aquatic units were quickly repurposed. Using their powerful echolocation abilities, they began scanning the station's outer hull, detecting areas where the Purity Alliance forces were attempting to breach. "Commander," Ward called out to Steele, who was already coordinating with the station's security forces. "The Dolphins have located 3 breach points in Sector 7. They're guiding our security teams there now." Steele nodded, relaying the information through his comms. "Good work. I'm deploying mixed teams to each location. We'll show these Purity Alliance fanatics what human-animal partnerships can really do." As the battle for Harmony 7 raged, Ward found himself at the heart of the action. The council chambers had been transformed into an impromptu command center. Holographic displays showed the progress of the fight across the station, with human-animal teams working in concert with alien allies to repel the invaders. In one sector, a team of human handlers and their German shepherds cornered a group of Purity Alliance soldiers. The dogs' enhanced senses, coupled with their telepathic link to their handlers, made them formidable opponents in the close quarters of the station's corridors. Elsewhere, the Falcons proved their worth as scouts and saboteurs. Guided by Ward's mental commands, they navigated the station's ventilation systems, dropping small EMP devices that disabled the Purity Alliance's communication equipment. But the tide of the battle truly turned when Ward received an unexpected telepathic signal. His eyes widened as he processed the information. Ward nodded, a grin spreading across his face. "And they're ready to help." With a series of rapid mental commands, Ward coordinated the most audacious counterattack in the history of space warfare. The massive space whales, their bodies adapted to survive in the vacuum of space, positioned themselves around the Purity Alliance fleet. The whales began to sing. Their haunting melody, normally inaudible in the void of space, was captured and amplified by Harmony 7's communication array. The focused sonic attack washed over the Purity Alliance ships, disrupting their systems and throwing their forces into disarray. In the council chambers, the assembled diplomats watched in awe as the holographic displays showed the Purity Alliance fleet faltering. Commander Steele seized the moment, leading a joint human-alien task force in a decisive counterattack. As the battle began to turn in their favor, Ward caught sight of Niran, the Talarian representative. The alien diplomat was crouched behind a makeshift barricade, fighting alongside a human handler and their German shepherd. The look of respect and admiration in Niran's eyes spoke volumes about how far they had come. The fight was not nearly finished, but as Ward turned his attention back to coordinating their forces, he knew that this day would mark a turning point, not just in the battle against the Purity Alliance, but in humanity's place in the galactic community. The true power of Earth's biodiversity and human-animal partnerships had been revealed, and the universe would never be the same. You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.